As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Obscurity Now, the show where we take a look at weird and almost forgotten pieces of media, and then we decide if they should be tossed into the black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again, or remembered for all of human history. My name is Steve, and I am one of the hosts, and with me is a guy who was cloned from pure grain alcohol. It's...
It is Yahel, or as I am going by now, Summertime Boss Babe Yahel.
All right. You got to tell me.
You
got to tell me what this boss is. This like a song or something you heard when you were clubbing last night? What's going on?
Have you never heard like that term, boss babe?
I mean, I've heard of like boss, girl boss. I know girl boss. I've just never heard.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the same thing. It's just worse and dumber. But no, I've been seeing it on Tinder a lot. And I've been on Tinder.
Tinder? Oh, I didn't know you were the Tinder type.
Well, I have to get myself back out in the pool and of dating. And I do like going out, but sometimes I just want to judge people's appearances from the comfort of my own couch.
So you're just sitting there and you're like flipping by and you're like, no, maybe, message you later.
In your dreams.
Yeah. Oh, man. And, like, this girl doesn't look like she would appreciate Carnosaur. Forget it.
Oh, we have in the chat, Historic Nerd. He said, Summertime Boss Babe. Is that like white boy summer? Sure.
What is white? I'm learning so much today. I'm so unhip.
And I think that's actually something that like some like awful rapper that's white said without thinking it through. And we also have Pig Dan 20 on Twitch. He said sup obscurians, as in what's up. I'm bringing out all the lingo for you, Steve, because I'm the hip and cool one.
Now,
the boss.
I think I understand what an obscurian is. He's like referring to us as that, and I have to say, that is like the best. I don't know why I never came up with that. Like I used to.
Yeah, it's good.
I used to refer to our viewers / listeners as obscuronauts at the very beginning.
Right.
And I mean, I guess it was so lame, I just sort of forgot about it. But obscurians, ooh, I really like the cut of that jib. It sounds.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're gonna forget it. But I'm sure. But yeah, so Steve, today we are covering Carnosaur, which I'm pretty excited about discussing. What's going on, Steve? You okay?
I mean, I just.
This is summertime. The summertime you held.
Summertime.
Just deal with it.
Summertime brown boy. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can say it.
Yeah, well,
as a Hispanic.
Well, I mean,
you are being fired.
I'm just taking it back. You're just jumping right in, and I'm just like,
hey,
I know this is part of the new Yahel, the new
this is part of the new me,
the new Obscurian Yahel, almost like a centurion. You know the centurions, right?
Yeah, I know the centurions.
We might have to go over that show someday. But yes,
that was the card. They had like the weird hologram 3D thing. I don't know what it's called, like on their chest.
No. The Centurions were the three dudes: the green one, the red one, and the blue one.
You're right. I'm thinking of the Visionaries.
Yeah, hey, both are great. Both
gotta be covered.
Yeah, absolutely. But no.
But Steve, why don't you ask me what my history is with Carnosaur?
What? Are you in a hurry today, buddy?
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
You gotta get on.
I got profiles to swipe left.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, this woman cannot appreciate Baywatch Nights. Forget her.
You know what's funny is I was kind of seeing someone very briefly. Actually, re-seeing. You know her, I think. You remember crazy ass Rosalie, tall Rosalie?
Yes, I do.
Somehow we started hanging out again, and she actually loved Baywatch Nights. But she's also a fucking maniac, and I had to cut that off because she would get drunk and start making all kinds of crazy, violent threats.
Well, I'll assume she's not one of our listeners slash viewers or an Obscurian. We'll say she's definitely not an Obscurian in that regard.
No.
But
all right. Anyway, sorry, I'm like trying to like get the show going, but I keep interrupting with
this is the
with my love life.
This is the gabbing part. But yes, before we talk about Carnosaur, which might be the second greatest cloning dinosaur movie ever made, or maybe even the first, depending on who you ask. I would definitely like to remind everyone that we're now huge. I mean, freaking massive on TikTok. I mean, you just don't know how huge we are over there. It's like being big in Japan, you know?
But we actually, I mean, we're getting a following there. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping that it'll, move the needle over here on YouTube a little bit. That'd be nice. But, I take what I can get. And then, okay, yeah, so definitely check us out on TikTok. Basically, you can see a little, little smorgasbord, little bits and pieces of, like, past...
Little clips, little love nuggets of obscure nuggets. Historic Nerd said Tinder knots? Oh, Tinder knots. Okay, I see what he's saying.
There you go. Goodbye, Tinder knot. Oh, yes. But so, yeah, go over to TikTok. There's more, like, visuals and stuff than, of course, like, YouTube will usually let us use to go with whatever it is we're talking about.
It's and you can find us at Reptilian Media.
Thank you. That's why we pay you the big Obscura bucks. Second, and this is most important, I would say, maybe even more important than TikTok, believe it or not, is that this is the second to last day of the Escape to Earth campaign on Kickstarter. In case you don't know, Escape to Earth is my comic that I wrote and then paid two guys to color and draw. And this is it. This is the end of the campaign. It ends May 31st. We're like 55% there, so make sure you send it to your rich aunt or uncle. But I'm confident we're going to get there. And so here, for possibly the last time on this show, is the Escape to Earth trailer coming right at you now. I'm having a weird day. The name's Adam. Where I'm from, I'm known as the Zero Thief. Depending on who you ask, some might say I'm the best thief. But believe it or not, even the best screws up every once in a while, and that's what I did, and I had to make a fast getaway. I ended up crash landing on this bizarre planet. Turns out, I didn't get away fast enough. These winged freaks followed me here.
It's just us here, Zero Thief, on this empty backwoods planet. So start talking, either to me or my blade.
Okay, I do have something to tell you. It's about the planet. It's not that empty. Come on, man. I thought you were gonna duck. Cut me loose. Behind you. Whoa. Thought I was done for. It was gonna be a light snack for a snarling creature. But then, she showed up, riding on the back of one of those monsters like it was nothing. And with a wave of her hand, the other razor-toothed beast just stomped away. I'd never seen anyone like her before in my life. I thought I'd say something clever. Thanks, have you seen my ship? She gave me a look that said more than words ever could, because I think she was trying to read my mind or something. And from there, things just got even weirder. Escape to Earth. 30 pages of insane dinosaur action that will leave you hungry for more. Issue 1, crowdfunding now. Written and created by Stephen Honeycutt. Art by Antonio Brandao. Colors by Bruno Furlani. Jump on now before the whole human race is extinct. Download the digital preview today. All right. Yahel has placed the link to the Kickstarter, and you can get a digital copy starting at just $5. But of course, the whole point of the campaign is to get the book printed because, come on, we all know that physical media is better than digital. I believe Wrestling with Gaming will back me up there, huh?
Indeed, indeed. I can't believe the awful things you were saying about Two Real Geeks while you were muted. Unbelievable, indefensible, the things you said. But
Oh well, the world will never know. But welcome to Real Geeks. Great to have you back. And so since Yahel is just chomping at the bit, pun intended, to check out Carnosaur, what say we just dive right in? You ready?
let's do it.
All right.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
All right. So, Yahel, what is your history, if there is any at all, with Carnosaur?
I had never seen it. I had heard of it. I remember. I feel like did this like premiere originally on HBO or something? Because I feel like it was either played there a lot or maybe advertised for there.
I read that it got a brief theatrical run, as a lot of like Roger Corman stuff does. But yeah, I mean, this was basically made for the
Yeah, was he like trying to make sure he was eligible for an Oscar?
exactly. But yeah, I mean, this was basically made for the home video and probably HBO or Cinemax market, and that's where I knew this before. Is I would always see the like VHS at Blockbuster or whatever non-Blockbuster mom and pop video store I was going to at the time. And I'm sure maybe you felt the same way. I would go, oh, what a cool looking dinosaur. But I've never heard of this before, so I'm probably not going to watch it.
Yeah, I remember like seeing I feel like I saw commercials for this or maybe just clips of it on TV or whatever. So I knew that I knew the dinosaur was a little bit sub Jurassic Park level as far as the special effects. But I've always wanted to watch it. I just kind of never got around to it because you know me, I like terrible movies with bad effects and stuff. So yeah, but this ended up being a little bit more competent.
I know, right?
than I
Especially
expected.
for a Roger Corman film. And I mean, I guess why don't we talk about? Well, first I'll ask you. This isn't our first encounter with Roger Corman and his like tentacles of businesses and whatnot. Do you know what other Roger Corman produced stuff we've already watched? I'll give you a hint. It was 2 TV movies.
It was 2 TV movies. Was that X-Men show?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what else.
Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh shoot! Okay. all
Yeah,
right.
so yeah, that was like his the arm of his TV. I guess it was a New World, I think. And yeah, and this is, I guess, the movie side at the time. And like, are you familiar with? I mean, outside of the stuff we've already talked about, like, did you know about like Roger Corman growing up in the '90s or?
No, and even now I don't know a lot about it. I recognize his name though. When I saw it come up, I was like, oh. I recognize that name. I just thought I'd repeat myself, basically. Here.
Nice.
But yeah. I mean, I've definitely heard the name. I suspect that you have a torrid love affair with Roger Corman here. The way you brought him, keep bringing him up.
I wouldn't say it's a torrid love.
How does your wife feel about this?
He is. She's okay with it. I mean, basically, he's just the founding father of B movies, more or less, even before Trauma. And he he created mockbusters before that was even a thing. And so basically, you know, you could consider Carnosaur to be like an Asylum film, only, you know, back in the 90s before the Asylum was even a thing. But I will say, most Roger Corman stuff, when you watch it back, it is way better than anything the Asylum makes. I don't know about you, but I find most of those Asylum films like a complete snooze fest, where basically Roger Corman, his philosophy is, we're going to film the explosions first, the action scenes first, and the nudity. And if we have time, then we'll have like some like...
Then we'll have a story.
Yeah, exactly. And if you think about it, like that's how Michael Bay like makes most of his films. Like, although of course their budget is like, you know, 10 times the size of a Roger Corman film. Let's see, who do we have? Okay, Historic Nerd says he also made a spaceship that had a rack anybody would want to motorboat.
Yeah, and Two Real Geeks here said cheesy B horror movies are always the best experience. I think you mean the best experience with horror. Yeah, I lately I've been like watching all kinds of like terrible 80s B horror movies on Tubi, which is just like basically Tubi's horror. Actually, all of Tubi is basically, if you want to experience our show, things we haven't even thought of watching yet, go to Tubi. Everything's there.
Yeah, and then suggest it to us. That way you can do our job for us.
Yes.
Yeah, I've actually been finding a lot of hidden gems on there, but we'll have to save those for another time. So we will just dive into the horror that is Carnosaur. So basically, Carnosaur premiered May 21st, 1993 in the US of A. It is 1 hour and 23 minutes and is rated R. R. I don't know why I did that. And
I don't know why you did that either.
And yeah, nothing like some good elementary school humor to kick off like the rated R dinosaur movie we're about to watch or talk about. So here's the synopsis. It's going to sound a little familiar at first. A genetically manipulated and very hungry dinosaur escapes from a bioengineering company and wreaks havoc on the local desert town. A security guard and a girl environmentalist try to stop both it and the company's doomsday bioweapon. So already off to a great start, I would say.
Yeah.
And okay, director, starting right off the bat, we have Adam Simon, and I guess he left off his third name, Theodore.
Jesus
I'm sorry,
Christ.
that's all I
I gotta go, everybody. I apologize for the show's existence.
that's all I think about.
I'll be sure to shoot Steve.
I'm like, he might as well have made that his stage name, put a little hyphen between, he could be Adam Simon, last name Theodore. But anyway, so not only is he the director, he's also credited as the writer of Carnosaur here. He previously did a movie that I'm pretty sure I've seen that is actually pretty good called Brain Dead. And then what I'm pretty sure is a Skinamax softcore porn called Body Chemistry 2. And then after Carnosaur, he only directed like music videos and some documentaries. But these days he stays busy as a TV writer. He worked on Next, Salem, and I thought this was interesting.
Next, the MTV dating show?
No, it's a different show, like a drama.
Well, we should cover Next, the MTV like bus dating show. That shit is hilarious.
All right, since our last foray into reality TV went so well. But are you familiar with Valiant comic books? Did you ever read those back in the 90s? I mean, they're actually still around.
I remember them. I don't think I ever had any of their issues, but I mean, of course, I remember reading about them in Wizard and that kind of stuff.
And they Vin Diesel was just played Bloodshot, which that movie did horribly and was horrible. Well, our buddy here, Adam Simon, is on pre-production for the Shadow Man movie, which is a Valiant superhero, but I mean, Bloodshot did so poorly, I can't imagine that it's going to take off or do anything. But anyway, we have credited as for additional sequences a guy by the name of Darren Maloney. He's only directed one other film. Once again, I'm pretty sure it's a Skinamax softcore porn by the name of Andromeda, the Pleasure Planet. Other than that, all he does is location scouting. He still works as a location scout. Moving on to the writers here, I already said Adam Simon, who's also the director. And then we have credited John Bronson, who is the original writer of the Carnosaur novel. That's right. This was an actual book, just like Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. But hey, all right, this is a fun fact I was going to save till later. Carnosaur, the book, actually predates Jurassic Park by 6 years. So they beat Michael Crichton to the cloning dinosaur punch. This guy John Bronson or Brosnan, we always have a problem with that last name. He wrote the book under the pseudonym Harry Michael Knight, And yeah, like Roger Corman's wife basically wrote up a contract on a cocktail napkin with him at like a bar or something. And the guy was worried. He was worried that the budget wasn't going to be enough to like have some decent dinosaur effects. And
well,
wait, I'm not done yet. But Roger Corman,
I think he might have been onto something.
But Roger Corman was like, "Oh no, you write whatever you want, John Bronson, and we'll take care of it." And then, so I guess he turned in a draft, and then they hacked it up. And then Adam Simon Theodore came in and basically turned it into the Carnosaur movie that we know and possibly love. But yeah, there you go. Carnosaur beat Jurassic Park to the cloning dinosaur punch.
Wow.
Yeah.
By the way, we also have Smoke Monster here in the chat. He said, I remember the box for this, but I never saw it. It is available on YouTube. I'm putting the link in the chat to the film right now for those that have an hour and 22 minutes of their life that they, don't want to have any meaning.
Oh, no, you don't mean that.
No, I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying this movie's not going to enrich your life per se.
Hey, it might. We'll see. All right. And of course, I've already... I'm sorry, continue.
Oh, sorry, there was another chat here. The chat's been hopping.
I see that.
Today.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone.
Historic Nerd, I mean, a lot of directors end their careers at softcore. Two Real Geeks said, it's just true. Everything comes from something else before it with the same idea. I believe in reference to the coming out 6 years before Jurassic Park. And finally, Smoke Monster said, this series of films has a cover problem. Yeah, the covers are to the boxes or something else.
Yes, they are.
And yeah. Should I dive into the cast?
Yeah, well, just real quick. I mean, I already mentioned Roger Corman. He is the guy who produced this under the New Horizons Pictures moniker, which I'm sure probably has like a offshore account in the Cayman Islands. But they produced Paraconda, Sharktopus, and Death Race 2050. All right. So check out some more of Roger Corman stuff. Like the earlier stuff from the 80s is actually really good. Anyway, please enlighten us about the cast, Yahel.
So starting off, I'm only going to list a few people because most of these people are, well, Steve, they're not people whose even their own family doesn't even know what they're up to. They're not named, but we do have our star and I guess most highly billed actor,
Clint Howard.
Diane Ladd.
Oh.
She gets first billing. But I think she's. You know what's funny is I did not recognize her or anything, but I've heard the name before. And I was looking at her IMDb, and I guess she was in Chinatown, which I've heard of that before. But she's kept working, still busy to this day. She's got some stuff that came out this year. She's been on some TV show called Chesapeake Shores that I guess just ended last year. She's got some stuff in pre-production, but she also recently did an episode of Young Sheldon. So go fuck yourself, Diane.
You know about, I mean, I don't want to steal your thunder here, so I'll let you take it. I didn't know if you stumbled across this bit of trivia, the connection between Diane Ladd and Jurassic Park, right?
No, I did not. Please enlighten me.
Her daughter is Laura Dern.
Oh, okay.
And then there's another, Clint Howard's niece, Bryce Dallas Howard, was in one of the newer Jurassic Park sequels, like Jurassic World or something
That's
like
right.
that. So, yeah, there's a weird ancestral bond between Carnosaur and the Jurassic Park properties.
That's so weird.
Continue.
Moving along, we've got Raphael Sbarge. I don't know how you. His name is spelled like that mall pizza chain Sbarro, where it's like SB.
Right.
So it's SBARGE. I don't know how to pronounce it. It makes me uncomfortable when I see names like that. Anyways, he is still very, very busy. He plays. Who did he play in the movie? Diane Ladd, by the way, I don't think I said who she plays. Dr. Jane Tiptree. She's the scientist that makes the virus / brings back the dinosaurs. Raphael Sbarge plays Doc Smith. Not an actual doctor. Doc is just his nickname.
There were a lot of doctors in this movie. A lot.
Yeah. Then we've got Harrison Page, who I really liked. He was like the sheriff, Sheriff Fowler. I don't know why. I just really liked him.
He was good.
And his character. Anyways, another guy. He's kept super, super busy. You probably won't recognize him from anything. I certainly didn't. He was apparently, though, in Quantum Leap.
Oh, nice.
And Ultraman, the Ultimate Hero. He was in a bunch of episodes of Ultraman.
Wow,
So
that's cool.
yeah. But I don't know. I guess maybe people know him as Sledgehammer. That was like something that he was like super famous for.
Oh, do you remember that show?
Vaguely.
It's like an
vaguely.
over-the-top sort of Naked Gun kind of. We need to watch that.
But yeah, and that's really and of course we've got Clint Howard. I almost forgot. He's the only other one really worth mentioning. Clint Howard, I mean, famous character actor. You definitely recognize his mug. Brother of Ron Howard.
Beautiful men they are, the Howards.
Yeah. Of course, he was in something we covered already, Santa with Muscles.
Yeah.
However, more importantly, he was in Star Trek: The Original Series as a child, and he was in Star Trek Discovery, most recently in the first season, the season finale of that terrible Star Trek show.
Oh, man. All right. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Right.
Oh no! We've just entered another Star Trek connection.
Ooh, it's good to have it back. All right. Is that it for the cast then?
Yeah, I think those are pretty much the people worth mentioning. There's a bunch of other people in the cast, but like I said, I mean, they're not people anyone would know, so let's just demean their lives further by ignoring
Sure, a
them.
bunch of nobodies. They probably live in the flyover states.
As opposed to us.
Right. I mean, you're in Florida and I'm in California. You can't get higher rollers than that. All right, so you ready to jump into Carnosaur, the movie, as opposed to
Let's do it.
the kids' coloring book? All right.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, so right off the bat, the music starts. I'll say the music is pretty lame from the get-go. I'm sure it's probably canned, like they purchased it from, some sort of public domain or something. I mean, it's not not terrible, but it's definitely not good. It's just there to serve its...
It's unmemorable.
Yes, that's it. And speaking of unmemorable, the Carnosaur logo, at least at the beginning, the one that flies up on the screen, is... total snoozeville. Even the font is like the most boring font you could possibly pick. Like, come on. Come on, Roger. Like, you got to spend a little money on some fonts here.
It's like if you just stick to Arial, for your Word documents or something.
You should have went with Comic Sans. That would have been hilarious.
But Comic Sans has a little personality to it, at least.
It's true.
Smoke Monster has said, so not quite John Williams?
No. More like Larry Williams, his brother who dropped out of composer school. So as our credits are rolling, it is intercut with footage from a commercial livestock processing plants, chickens in cages, cows, that sort of thing. So already they're hammering down their themes pretty strong here from the get-go, and you will see as the movie continues that they actually do a pretty good job sticking with those themes. And then we are in a boardroom, and a bald guy is picking at a bug and talking about the scientist. That scientist they were talking about is Jane Tiptree. I just called her Dr. Jane because I didn't feel like writing out, was it Tiptree or Triptree? I can't remember.
I think it's TIP tree.
Tiptree, yeah.
Tiptree, I think.
So,
I mean, I can tell you right now, it's Tiptree.
Yeah. So, this boardroom, it looks like it's a boardroom and an evil lab mixed together. Like, right off the bat, what were your thoughts of seeing this boardroom?
Very, very 90s vibe from it. Like you said, it is like a weird mashup of 90s evil guy boardroom, evil corporation boardroom, and a science lab.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely a unique aesthetic.
Yeah, it reminded me of like sort of like that Lawnmower Man aesthetic, but without like without the cinematography. I mean, the cinematography is decent. I mean, it's definitely again not a like Asylum level low, but
Right.
yeah, it gets the
Like,
job
I would
done.
say this movie, special effects aside, it's competently shot.
Yeah. And I think that's what sets it apart from like a lot of other stuff. But moving on. Oh, another thing that I thought was weird is, sorry, so you got all these government types sitting around your typical boardroom table, and there's just Coke cans everywhere for some reason.
Yeah. They didn't bother blurring out the logo. You'd think like it was like a commercial product placement
Yeah,
or
and
something.
then there's
but
even a vending machine later. So who knows? Maybe old crafty Corman, maybe he did work out a little something. But anyway, the evil businessmen say they can't interfere with Dr. Jane's work without forfeiting their patents. So I guess that's basically their reason for allowing her to do basically whatever she wants. And now,
yeah, they said that they have a contract with her where for 18, it was so weird because it says that they can't interfere with her work or I guess like ask her questions about it. She has to be allowed to work uninterrupted, like unencumbered by no questions asked for 18 to 24 months. I'm no lawyer, but I'm pretty sure you would need to like set a definitive period of time in the contract.
when we sell out to Spotify, that's going to be my request. Those exact same ones.
that they leave us alone for 18 to 24 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Then they can have our patents.
Right, exactly.
But I mean, I guess like whoever wrote this felt a need to explain, because like really, why would anyone let this experiment go on if you know what it is?
Right, exactly.
It basically would result in the end of humanity. So I guess he felt the need to explain why the corporation that's giving her the money for it is letting it happen.
Yeah, hey, they cared, and
there's nothing in it for them.
right, and they bothered, so good for them. So now we are in the actual lab of Dr. Jane Tiptree, the scientist that they were speaking about. She's watching the same chicken stock footage that we saw at the opening credits, and now we cut to two dudes driving a truck. They enter Dr. Jane's chicken lab with the intent to catch something. We aren't really sure what it is at the moment, but you can tell because one of the guys is holding one of those like stick noose things, that I guess like, what are they called? Animal control people use to catch like feral animals and stuff. And as they're as the camera pans over all the chicken cages, it goes over a massive egg that one can assume is a dinosaur egg. It immediately hatches, and something jumps up and scratches the guy's face. We don't get a very good look at it, but what I thought was awesome here is that they do a POV of whatever it is. I'll give you a hint. It's a baby dino. Poking its way through the egg and like lunging at the guy. And I mean, just like stuff like that is what makes like Roger Corman films like really fun. Cause I never got to see a POV in Jurassic Park of like the little dinosaurs popping through the eggs.
No, it was definitely cool.
Right. Anything else to add for that opening scene?
No. I think that pretty much covers it. I will say, for anyone that wants to watch this, they do show like chickens, like real chickens getting killed. And in the old stock footage of, it's like from like a chicken processing plant or something, which I caught me off guard. And I'm not a squeamish person or anything like that. But even I was like, I don't really want to see. I love chicken. I had 3 chicken breasts yesterday. But just a little warning for people that and you can, that opening scene is like, I don't know, it's like maybe a minute long. You can skip it. It doesn't like take away anything from the movie.
Yeah,
watch it,
I've seen much worse. When I went to go watch Morrissey in Singapore. When they sing "Meat is Murder," he actually projects that footage, might even be the same footage, onto the screen behind him. I guess he's been doing it since the 80s, and he still does it to his paying fan base. Anyway, so Dr. Jane is watching all this via a security camera. She's watching it unfold. And then we cut to Clint Howard and his partner I don't think they're really partners. I thought they were at the get-go, but it turns out that they're not. They load some chickens into their truck, and Clint says he's never seen so many nervous chickens before. Which, how can you tell if chickens are nervous or not? I guess you have to work.
I don't know, man. I guess if you've been around them long enough, I guess you could tell.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
I mean, chickens don't really have a personality. They're not like dogs. But anyway, his partner, whose name is Merle, because of course it has to be, because the guy just looks like your typical redneck guy. Merle, he tries to exit the compound. The leader, he says... or not the leader, the guy who's manning the gate. He's like, oh, no one in or out. But Merle, he turns on that Merle charm. He's like, oh, come on, let me out. And the guy lets him. So, but he hears some like rustling in the back of his truck and he immediately pulls over to inspect the chickens. He's opened the gate and is brutally attacked by something. And I have to say right off the bat, I really sort of dug the death scene. There's plenty of blood splashing up on the camera and on the just everywhere. And then as they pan away, they show the blood splattering on the mud flap of the guy's truck, which has one of those sexy silhouettes of a woman on it. And I don't really understand the visual metaphor or even if they were going for one, but it looks cool. It looks cool.
Yeah.
It's just like, I guess I've seen Jurassic Park so many times and I'm used to like the lack of blood that seeing the blood in this film was like, this is refreshing, kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
It's good.
Thanks for
this
backing
movie
me up.
definitely has some nice little gore.
Mm-hmm. Cut to what's called the Night Watch trailer, and a drunk guy watches surgery footage. Then he hears someone, and the drunk guy, it ends up being Doc, not an actual doctor, but a guy who just wants to be called Doc for some reason. I guess he was a fan of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. I don't know. He goes out to inspect. And he fires at them with a gun. He gets inside like an excavator or, some big construction equipment, whatever it is, and realizes that someone has sabotaged it. He then gets into a dump truck and starts it up, and then he hears a woman scream. He finds said woman hiding in the dump truck. He calls the cops, but they have their hands full investigating Merle's murder, which, I thought that was a nice touch. I mean, they could have just been like, nah, we've been out there today. We don't feel like coming out. So basically, the sheriff, I guess this is our first time seeing him, he says that just have her wait there and we'll send someone out to get her. Anything else significant about that scene?
No. I think that pretty much covers it. Like, there's not like a ton happening yet, even though there's like a lot of movement and location changing at the beginning.
Right, and basically what's going on here is that there's like this group of hippies who I guess come out and they sort of like sit on his construction equipment. Like, it's his job. He never has like a security uniform or anything, but it's his job to make sure they don't mess with whatever it is they're doing. I guess they never really explain exactly what they're building, or they're just clearing the land for some reason. And these hippies don't want them to do it. So moving on, we are now at the Dr. Sterling Raven Clinic, which is an awesome name, if you ask me.
It's
this
cool,
is like Dr. 2 of our many doctors, and he cuts into a corpse. He then calls the fishing and game department to tell them he's sending them a wound sample. And that's basically all that happens there. Cut back to Dr. Jane. She talks to a man on a screen. I mean, I really feel like they missed out at a chance here, like in Lawnmower Man, for her to talk to someone, a massive head like being projected on the wall, like in Lawnmower Man.
Right.
Which was the style at the time. But, Roger Corman, he knows where to save his money. So he asks what to tell the men what they are searching for, because I guess what they're looking for this whole time is an escaped dinosaur. And so, again, they haven't told you anything in the movie about that. So He asks what to tell the men what they're searching for, and she says they'll know it when they see it. So cut to the sheriff. He shows up with drunk doctor to the campground. Oh yeah, that drunk doc, just regular doc, basically.
Yeah.
To the campground to ID the woman he found in his equipment last night, and he doesn't ID her. What is it? Because she's pretty? I mean,
yeah. So basically, he's like, she's hot.
Yeah.
So they share a moment, and he's like, no, she's not here.
Yeah. He doesn't turn her in just so he can get some sweet activist action.
That's right.
So cut to another guy on a phone. His daughter sneaks out to go, I don't know if the technical term is mudding since they're in a desert, but that's what they call it in Florida, right?
Yeah. It's what we do. I was doing some mudding before I logged on, actually.
Have you ever actually gone mudding in your entire time living in Florida? 'Cause
Steve, this is summertime boss baby hell you're talking to, baby. Mud. I've never been mudding.
I could just see you again on Tinder. I wonder if this girl could take me mudding. No, I've never.
Dude, in Florida, there's a lot of them that are like, I love going mudding. You know, they're Mudscurians, if you will.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've never been mudding either. All right. Meanwhile, at the docks excavation site, the blonde lady comes by and thanks him for not turning her in. Do you think that's enough motivation for her to like come back there? Maybe not in real life, but I think in a movie it's okay. I don't know. What did you think about that?
Yeah, it's fine. I guess like how else are you gonna get them together?
Right.
Unless I guess they could have had Doc go back out to where the activists were at or whatever. But it was okay. You gotta allow for in a movie with puppet dinosaurs, it's the least of my concerns.
That's a good point. That is a good point. And I guess we could believe that she could possibly be attracted to him as well. So she gives him a knot that represents the earth. That's what she says. She says her name is Thrush.
No, she says brush. Like a brush you paint with.
Oh, I thought this whole time it was thrush. I think thrush is better, actually.
She says, yeah. The guy's like brush. She's like, my name. What did she say? My name used to be Anna, but now it's Brush.
Right. So she says that the doc's air.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm reading this. No, you're right. It is Thrush. Mm-hmm. I apologize. I just looked it up. Well, I guess I'm an idiot.
You were never the same after you went mudding and hit your head on that Jeep.
Yeah, that's right.
So she says the doc's area used to be, like, they go outside his trailer and they're, like, showing the area where he lives. She says the area used to be a dinosaur migration, railroad.
Like a route?
Yeah, route. That's what I'm looking for. And he's like, I don't care. This is just my job. And she's mad that he doesn't care, which, I don't know, is cool. It just shows how different they are, the typical activist versus, I guess, the guy the normal Joe who's just doing his job. Definitely some relatable stuff here, especially for the 90s, at the height of Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Meanwhile, the daughter from before, they stop their Jeep, and there's basically it's her and two other guys. One dude goes out to take a leak, and immediately girl and other dude start making out, which is also just very typical of Roger Corman monster movies. And of course, they are attacked by a dinosaur. Again, you don't see it very much, but yeah, he massacres them good.
Yeah.
And my favorite part at the end of the scene, first, all right, here you definitely get a visual metaphor. As he's massacring these kids, again, you get the blood splatter, and it splatters on their bumper sticker, which says give peace a chance or something like that.
Or peace will prevail or something like that.
I'm like that. Yes. I really liked that a lot.
Yeah.
And then,
by the way, this whole scene with them in that Jeep, it's so ridiculous because they're I guess there's just supposed to be like kids going out and having fun, but their fun is like almost getting themselves killed. Like just like they're driving around and the girl in the back seat keeps like covering the driver's eyes, and they're like, ha ha ha, this is hilarious. And it's like, I mean, I was a bit of a wild child for a bit there in my teens, and never would have done something this stupid. Like it's just dumb.
Right. Well,
like kids aren't this stupid.
I mean, hey, you and I never went mudding when we were living in Florida. Well, you still live there, so what do we know?
Yeah, I guess you're right, Steve. Well, next time you come down to visit, we'll cover my eyes. We'll get in my Jeep that I don't own, and we'll go driving around some jagged rocks and reckless.
Nice. It's a date, partner. All right, so now we're back in the AARP boardroom, which I guess that's what it was this whole time. The aforementioned sort of evil-looking boardroom. I guess that's what it actually looks like, the AARP boardroom.
Yeah, I guess so.
Once again, a scientist, he gives the head bald guy, I meant to go look up his name, but whatever. He's just baldy to me. He gives them the picture of an attacked dead guy and says there's chicken DNA in the saliva. So now they're, basically planting the seeds that, these attacks are related to Dr. Tiptree and her chicken work. Also,
right.
As the movie was going forward, there's always like shots of people like eating chicken. Like we haven't even gotten to it. The diner scene, Clint Howard is always eating chicken, it seems like. But anyway, so we're back with Thrush again, not Brush. She wanders around in the dark until she finds Doc in a van. So basically what happened when they were walking around and she was, they had their little argument about caring about the environment and not, she just got mad and stormed off, which really kind of wasn't clear when that scene ended.
Right.
But now it's dark. And so Doc sort of drives up to her and is like, need a ride, that sort of thing. And then she gets in. They see the body of a Mexican guy who was attacked. And then the exterminator guys, cut to the exterminator guys from before. They're still looking for the escaped dinosaur, and then they find it. And boy, did they find it, and they get ripped apart by this dinosaur Muppet, and it's awesome. Like, what did you think about their evisceration by Muppet?
Oh yeah, it was great. Just ridiculous. It's what you want in this kind of film, right? Like some ridiculous, over the top kills with a shitty dinosaur.
It's cute. It's almost cute. I'm like, oh,
yeah, it is kind of cute. Yeah.
So now we're back in AARP boardroom. Bald guy gives some old guys, this was weird, genetically augmented blueberry pie. And like, this is funny. They're eating it and they're liking it. And then he explains how he made it. He says it's made from like goat placenta or something like that. And then they freak out and like spit it out and stuff. And just then what happens? His assistant shows up and tells him there's a problem with Dr. Jane. And he's like, shh, you got to keep this quiet so like the bigwigs don't hear about it. And those guys eating the pie, they're the big wigs. And they're like, what's going on? He's like, oh, nothing to worry about. Have some more pie, basically. But, they don't want to eat any more of their goat placenta blueberry pie.
We did have in the chat, good point by Smoke Monster here. Carnosaur could have been a sweet video game IP. Cheap, dinosaurs, buckets of blood would have worked for me. And I totally agree. It would actually even now make like a great little like, maybe not I don't think there's enough here for like a big AAA, 60-hour game or anything like that. But, like a fun little Switch, $9.99 game that's like a 10, 15-hour experience or something.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. I think there's definitely more to farm in the Carnosaur world, which is why I'm glad we're talking about it. But I think I've said too much. Anyway. So Jess, the guy whose daughter was eviscerated previously by the puppet by Carnosaur, cries to Dr. Tiptree and says that they brought his daughter, and then Dr. Tiptree says, "Oh, but we brought her to the lab. She'll be okay." And I think this will be a good point to jump in and say and ask, like, what do you think about Diane Ladd's performance thus far?
I actually thought she was pretty good. You can tell that she's the best actor here in the whole production, but no one really like does like a terrible job. And I will say the guy that's there with her that comes in, with
Jess,
the gun and stuff. I think like he held his own too. So
I think everyone tries, and Diane Ladd, she is great. I'm like, wow, she really is evil. Like, she really believes in her work, and that's what you want in a mad scientist. But
she's the kind of villain that I like, where their motivations like aren't I'm being evil for the sake of being evil. They have like motivations that you can almost kind of see, like, oh, I can kind of see where she's coming from.
Right.
What you're doing is still terrible and evil, and you shouldn't do it. But yeah, those to me make the best kind of.
And yes, and more on that later. So she goes, yes, your daughter is fine. Yes, just go over there and you can see her. So he starts walking through her lab, and man, I love this like weird room that he goes into. It's basically where a fully grown Carnosaur is being taken care of, or being hidden in the back of Dr. Jane's lab. There's like, and she can somehow communicate with it. And so she speaks into a microphone, I forgot her actual commands, but it almost sounds like some sort of binary code or something. And that's the cue to the Carnosaur to feed on this guy. And he tries to run away, but there's lasers. Oh, and they're so awesome. Yeah. I love those lasers. Yeah. He burns his hand, falls down. Then Carnosaur gets himself a nice little snack there, or I guess main Carnosaur, since there's like a couple of them. But anyway, we are back at the doc's excavation site. He sees more of Thrush's hippie friends who are sitting around in the construction equipment. He like tells them to leave, but of course they don't want to. And then Doc goes to Jane's diner, where Clint Howard is. This is where he's eating the chicken, and he's like telling the story of something. They're talking about some weird mess. I guess all the people who are dying, they're talking about it.
Yeah, they're all sharing kind of like gross stories, or like stories where like somebody gets killed and stuff like that.
And this is when and the guy is like, can you take it easy? My wife here is pregnant. And like at first you think, why do we care if she's pregnant or not? But it plays into the plot of Carnosaur.
Yeah, because I thought it was weird too. Because he's like, can you guys stop talking about this kind of stuff? And it's funny. He says it's making my wife upset. The wife didn't say or do anything, by the way. He just assumed that she was upset. I think it's making him upset.
Well, but, he was using his wife as a smoke screen because he's such a chauvinist when he's the coward.
But like you said, I mean, it's something playing into the plot.
Right. So anyway, of course, Clint Howard persists, and they just get mad and leave. And so here we go. So let's see. So back at Doc's, Carnosaur walks up to the hippies. All right, as you said, this is pretty competently made, but Carnosaur just sort of walks up. He just saunters up to these hippies who are sitting on a bulldozer, and the hippie, and this is this is funny, but really stupid at the same time. The hippie turns over and he turns his head to Carnosaur and he goes, "Greetings, green brother," and Carnosaur immediately devours them. And it was awesome though, just watching him eviscerate the hippies. I mean, what did you think of that scene? Oh, I can't hear you, buddy.
I agree. It was pretty funny. You really kind of got to watch it to appreciate that scene. But yeah, it was pretty well done. Funny enough, Smoke Monster said that if we all pitch in, we can probably buy the IP for all 3 movies. So indeed, there were 3 Carnosaur movies. So I guess it must have sold well enough, right?
Yeah, must have.
but,
I mean,
Oh, and Stadium Arts is here. Welcome, Try. Thanks for
up?
joining. And it's never too late to enjoy some
fine Roger
not
Corman.
Jurassic
Yeah.
Park grade dinosaurs.
He's right. He's right. So moving on here, Doc shows up and shoots Carnosaur. He shoots at Carnosaur, but of course, Carnosaur just runs away, I guess.
Yeah, and this is Doc Smith, the security guy.
Right, right, yeah. I
that we're
should start
talking about.
calling him that.
Not to be confused with the doctor.
Right. So Doc finds Thresh, and she's okay. Cut to Dr. Raven. He's basically the coroner of the area to help keep all these doctors straight. He tells the sheriff that all the deaths were killed the same way, but they're getting worse. The bite marks are deeper. And Doc says that basically it means that whatever's doing the killing, it's growing fast. So Thresh wakes up at Doc's. She looks at his art book, and I think that's actually a nice little. It sort of shows that Doc probably was like an idealist. He probably was a hippie, just like the ones that he's fighting. But the world crushed his spirit. Blah blah blah. And then, of course, that sneaky old Carnosaur. He shows up again, and then Doc investigates the death of the guys looking for Carnosaur, those two delivery men that I spoke of earlier. He then disguises himself as one of those guys, and he then shows up at Dr. Tiptree's lab. He says that he's got like one of the corpses he says that he's got Carnosaur, basically, that that he was one of those delivery guys, and he finally caught him.
Right.
And which there definitely needs to be some suspension of disbelief here, because
Oh, you think in this movie?
I mean, at least as we've said, the script and the plotting is pretty competent, but here it's just like, how did Doc know to I'm sure he wanted to get to the bottom of this, but how did he know that they were looking for a Carnosaur, that they even wanted the body brought back?
Yeah, it feels like there's a scene missing or something.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe the Carnosaur ate the scene, Steve.
I wouldn't.
It's quite hungry.
I wouldn't rule it out. So yeah, I mean, basically this whole thing is done so he can get access to Dr. Tiptree, and he pulls a gun on her. Dr. Jane tells Doc Smith that he's got a fever just like everyone else that she designed. Maybe it was COVID. Who knows? I'm just trying to say Carnosaur is very poignant these days.
Yeah.
Cut to the sheriff and his wife. They talk about how they also have the fever, but they've been keeping it secret from him because they didn't want him to worry. He tells his wife to rest, and he begins making breakfast. He cracks an egg open, but he doesn't get any run-of-the-mill chicken egg.
No.
He gets green slime straight from 90s Nickelodeon.
Yeah, it's like really dark green too. It looked pretty gross.
Oh, absolutely.
They did a good job with it.
And as well as...
And it has like a little chunkiness to it too.
Yeah, and he keeps, I guess, breaking the eggs in hopes of getting a good one. And then a baby dino comes out. Really small, like hardly even developed. It reminded me of balut, which is a Filipino delicacy. You ever have balut, Yahel?
No, I can't say that I've ever had bloat. I will say the little baby dinosaur looked good.
Yeah, yep. When they can do the small stuff, they pull it off pretty okay, I'll say.
Yeah, I would say so.
So,
like the design of the puppets, I was saying this while you were away earlier. But the design of the puppets is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the puppets look pretty detailed and stuff. The problem is once they start moving,
Right.
it like instantly like, ooh, this is a puppet.
Yes.
But if it's just a still of them, fine.
Right. I agree. So cut to Clint Howard, once again eating chicken, and he's in the chicken coop, like, the big industrial chicken warehouse with the cages and stuff in it. He's in there eating chicken, which had to have been a disgusting scene to film. And he's walking by, and he very beautifully gets his head eaten off by Carnosaur just out of nowhere. Carnosaur, it's one of the smaller ones, and he is, I guess, hanging from a pipe or something. You know, they don't really show it, and he just scoops down, bites his head off. A great way to die if you're going to die in one of these movies. I'm
a little surprised that they didn't give Clint Howard a different part,
a little more,
a bigger part.
Yeah.
But I guess there really isn't anything else, right? Because he would either have been the love interest guy, and he's not Mr. Handsome.
He's not. Oh,
no, he's not. Oh, I guess he could have been the guy with the doctor, though. The guy that like goes to the doctor's lab with the gun. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. We'll get.
Oh wait, is that the same guy? Wait. Is it the same guy
as Doc?
Oh man, I'm getting myself confused.
Yeah, we'll just
Doc Smith
stick to our notes.
yeah. Just keep going.
So now we're back at Dr. Jane's, and Doc Smith asks Dr. Jane what she's up to. Dr. Jane's assistant calls and asks to go home early because she's sick. And Dr. Jane says, sure, but come here first so I can check you out. Like, I really like, I mean, her performance really is good. Like, the cadence of her voice, it's like, it sounds like she cares, but also there's something sinister behind it. Like, she just really pulls it off.
She's great.
So now we're back with Dr. Raven and the sheriff. They investigate the little dino that came out of the egg earlier. And then Dr. Raven attends to all of his sick patients. That's when they're, now they've really, driven home the fact that there's like a big, outbreak of Dr. Jane's, virus. And so now we're back with Dr. Jane again. She's checking out her assistant. She says like right on time. Like her whole plan is just working out perfect. And she makes her assistant lie down. She tells her assistant that her DNA is being rewritten, and then the assistant proceeds to give birth to a dino egg. And the first time you see this, man, it is something else.
Yeah, well, she gives birth to like an actual dinosaur, right? Not the egg.
Shoot.
Because later on, when the doctor gives birth,
well, see, the doctor, she does a C-section on herself. So I'm pretty sure it's an egg here, but then it's different for Dr. Jane, if I'm not mistaken, because I thought that was weird. I didn't understand.
So and I didn't really. So this is like one thing, and maybe you can explain to me that I didn't really get about this movie. But again, it's a movie about these fucking Carnosaur. You can't take anything too seriously or get too concerned about anything. But why have both dinosaurs that like just hatch out of eggs? Because she's already made those without the need to like have a woman birth it, whether the woman's giving birth to the live dinosaur or an egg. But then she's also has this thing where she's like impregnating women with dinosaurs as a result of this virus. So like, why do both?
She explains later. Because basically the scene with her and Doc Smith is basically her monologuing her entire plan or explaining the plan to the viewer. And she explains that she needs the human DNA and the dino DNA to combine, and basically in order to make a more perfect species in the future.
So, but she's already like created dinosaurs without it.
Those weren't good enough, though. She says, she needs I can't remember why. She needs the human DNA mixed in there as well. It's like to make a better species in the future.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we've already given it more thought than I think they probably did.
No.
So
I think I'm sure the guy who wrote the Carnosaur novel, he put a lot of thought into it, and then got edged out by Roger Corman and his wife. So she gives birth.
That is interesting choice of words there.
But it's what happened.
So you're saying that Roger Corman and his wife were edging this guy?
Wait, what does edging mean?
Oh, you don't know what edging means?
No.
Steve, edging is when a man, whether a man does it to himself or somebody does it to him, takes him close to the point of climax of orgasming, but then stops. Gets him to the edge.
Oh, man.
It's called edging.
You've been hanging out at the castle way too much.
Anyways, I can't wait to see this clip up on TikTok.
Oh, man.
Stadium Arts wrote, oh, my God.
Oh man,
chat
I
is
feel
correct.
like we've entered into a new dimension of this podcast.
Steve, this has been quite the episode. You've learned all about Boss Babe. You've learned about edging. I mean, just this is a big day for
All
you.
I do is like sit around and edit TikTok videos now, which is why I don't know any of this hip cool lingo. So anyway, sorry. So Doc follows Dr. Jane into a vault where we see even more dinosaur eggs everywhere. Dr. Jane says that she made the eggs. And then now we're back with Baldy and the AARP goons from the government. And he says he didn't know anything about Dr. Jane's experiments. Sorry. A dude then gives a ride to, cut to, and this is like just a random scene out of nowhere outside. A man gives a ride to a pregnant woman. And now I guess at this point, they mentioned it in the previous scene at the AARP that it's like getting to a pandemic level, pardon the term. Sorry if you're triggered. And so they've started to basically lock down the country and put up like quarantine zones, guys in those sort of like toxic.
Yeah, like hazmat
Yes,
suits.
that's it. Hazmat suits. So when this guy pulls up and he's like, oh, thank God she's pregnant. Like, you gotta, give us an escort to the hospital or whatever. And the guys, in typical military, fascist style, they're like, get out of the car, like get down. They take the woman away, presumably to Dr. Jane's, and then they get the guy out and they proceed to just gun him down. Like he's just surrounded by all these guys, and they just blow him away.
Yeah.
And so now cut to, we're back with Dr. Jane again. She says the dinos were meant to rule the earth and the humans were just ants. Dr. Jane says it would make a good, I'm sorry. God, see, too many doctors. Doc Smith,
There are too many doctors. in
Doc
this.
Smith quips and says it would make a good theme park. Get it? Reference?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I get it.
yeah, there you go. You know. So meanwhile, back with Baldy and the government, the pregnant woman gives birth to a dino egg, and this is when they start getting an idea of what's going on with Dr. Jane's plan. And now we're back again with Dr. Jane and Doc Smith. She says humanity is a disaster and must be stopped. She then explains how when she was working for the military, she was, commanded to do all these horrible things, which is why she wants to basically wipe them out and let the dinosaurs take over the earth again, only, combined with human DNA to evolve to a greater species. Now we're back with the sheriff, and he goes dino hunting, and this is a pretty awesome scene. He kills a Carnosaur, not a fully grown one, with a shotgun, but not before getting a claw through the gut. I don't know, words don't really do the scene justice. I thought it was pretty cool. What did you think about it?
Yeah. I like the scene a lot. I thought like this character was gonna make it to the end.
Yeah, me too.
But,
yeah.
Because we spend some time. He gets like a few scenes. We even like see him like talking with his wife,
Right.
and he's like really loving to her and all this stuff. So it's. I wish he would have stuck around a little bit longer, but I'm glad that this movie does kill like characters, that they take the time to establish who they are, so that you as the viewer at least care about them when they do perish.
Right, and it helps keep you on your toes because, if this were to be your typical Hollywood movie, you're like, oh, surely they're not going to kill the family man. Oh, nope, they did. And basically that is the end of the sheriff's arc, if he even had one.
Yeah.
So now we're back with Baldy and the government stooges. They say they may lose the human species, but they've been working on artificial wounds yeah, this is great. This feels like Doctor Strangelove to me, because like you can sort of see it in the glint in their eyes. They're like, now we can like take over completely and just make the human race, just bend them to our will.
Right. And in a way, this scene justifies the doctor that's created these, Dr. Tiptree, that's creating these dinosaurs and wants to get rid of humanity. In a way, it kind of justifies her actions, right? Because, like, these people in the government and the military specifically, they're looking at this as an opportunity to, like, basically overreach their power and, get to their own whatever they want to do, rather than like, okay, how are we going to solve this for humanity? So maybe she's right.
Classic 90s like anti-government message mixed with environmental politics. Oh, it all works if you ask me. And you're absolutely right. Totally justifies her. And so now we're back with Dr. Jane. She first tells Doc Smith that it's too late to stop the virus. He starts smashing dinosaur eggs or shooting them, and asks Doc for a serum. There has to be one. He spouts some scientific reason on why there has to be one. And sure enough, she caves and tells him where the serum is. But somehow he ends up in that weird laser Carnosaur room. And Dr. Jane unleashes the Carnosaur. The moment we've all been waiting for, the big one.
Right.
And man, is it hilarious watching it move. And then, while this is going on, she then prepares herself to give birth to a dinosaur, which, I mean, it's pretty amazing. I guess it just shows how much she believed in her work and how much she was willing to sacrifice, even herself,
right,
to give birth to a freaking dinosaur.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but the way I understood it, I mean, so I didn't really understand how people were even getting infected, how women were getting infected that hadn't even really been around the dinosaur stuff.
Oh, it was all in the chickens. She and their eggs, whenever they consumed the poultry from all those chicken factories, it's like basically it's all worked in there.
God, how did I miss that?
It's like a GMO.
I don't know how I missed that. I was making breakfast during a part of this,
nice.
So maybe. So there was like 15 minutes where I didn't pay the most attention possible. So maybe that's where
they're showing the chicken cages. You're like, that's disgusting. As you devour half a dozen eggs. Yeah. So she tears a hole in her belly, and then the little dino pokes out total ripoff of Alien, but it definitely works.
And she's super happy about it. She's smiling about it the whole time.
Really creepy scene, but totally well done. Adam Simon Theodore, bravo. So Doc goes back to his trailer. Oh yeah, but basically the Carnosaur is chasing Doc. He runs back to his trailer where Thresh is waking up from a weird dream that she talks about. She too has the fever at this point. Doc tries to call for help on he's got a ham radio, but of course no one answers. Doc then recalls Thresh mentioning the Dino Highway. That's what they called it before. Back then all the dinosaurs used it to, I don't know where they're gonna go back in those days, but sure, that's what they used it for. And he thinks that is why the Carnosaur is heading towards them, which is great because I feel like in today's Hollywood blockbusters, he just would have gone there just because. They wouldn't even bother to come up with a reason.
Right.
So Carnosaur is heading towards them, and then we're back with the military guys in the contaminant suits. They're investigating, and then Doc gives Thresh the serum. The military guys execute all of basically the military guys, they show up at Dr. Raven's, and they just show up and they mow down all of Dr. Raven's patients, and including him. And then at the same time, there's a lot of stuff going on here. At the same time, Carnosaur is closing in on Doc and Thresh. Doc gets into, again, I don't know all of my construction equipment. He gets into either a power shovel or an excavator or something like that. And he fights Carnosaur, again, very similar to Aliens, although filmed with zero wide shots. But you know what's going on here. Carnosaur knocks him over. Thresh then intervenes. with like a different piece of construction equipment. With a different power shovel. She faints. Doc like comes and basically pushes her to the back, takes over her construction equipment, and then Doc proceeds to cut the Carnosaur's belly open with the power shovel, thus killing the Carnosaur. Oh, so sad. And yeah, I already mentioned it, but I wrote down here, Jesus, how about a wide shot? I mean, they built a full, mechanized dinosaur. I mean, of course they said, it looked like crap, so they hardly used it, but like they could have given us just a half a second wide shot. I don't know. What do you think? Can't hear you, buddy.
Totally agree. I think what he was using was it's either a backhoe or an excavator. Mm-hmm. I couldn't really see which of the two it is, but anyways, yeah, I totally agree, man. Like I'm kind of surprised that they didn't, and especially if you do the wide shot, back enough, maybe add some fog, some whatever, you can cover it up for a few seconds that it's not a great looking. I mean, they didn't seem to care in other scenes that the dinosaur didn't look good, so like what the fuck.
I know, right? But yeah, that is a hallmark of low budget filmmaking. If you spend your days on Tubi like Yahel and I do, you'll see like horror movies and other stuff, especially in action movies, where they're just like, wide shot? Who's ever heard of such a thing? Yeah, you can decide yourself if it's worth your time at that point. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, Carnosaur dies, and I don't know, I felt a little sad about it. I don't know why, but so Doc Smith hears the military chatter on his ham radio. He answers it, again, thinking he's going to get help. The military guys show up, and they blow him away, just like they did the other guy who was given a ride to the pregnant lady.
And he was so happy to see them, too. He thought, like, oh, here comes the cavalry, right. I believe is what he says.
So basically what Alvin Simon Theodore is saying here is never trust the government. However, I don't know if they did this on purpose so they could have sequels or whatever. So, all right, the guys, so Thresh is laying on the bed. She's, infected, half sick, or maybe still fainted. She's still fainted. They come in, the dudes with the guns, and what's his name? Doc Smith, he throws himself in front of the hail of gunfire, stopping the bullets from, in theory, stopping them from getting to Thresh. So, and they never show if the bullets actually got to her or not. I don't know. Did you happen to notice if she got killed or not?
Well, I don't think it matters if she got shot or not, because then with a flamethrower, they lit the entire place on fire, Steve, and she was consumed by the flames, so...
She could have walked out the back door, maybe? I mean, what I'm leading to here is I'm really curious to see how they did two Carnosaur sequels when the world is basically over at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I haven't watched those other Carnosaur movies, so I don't know. But I mean, I'm sure there's ways around it. I mean, whatever.
With geniuses
make
like
something up.
Alvin Simon Theodore and Roger Corman at the helm, I'm sure they came up with something.
Exactly.
But we have to mention the last great visual metaphor, and they teased it at the beginning of the film. There is a poster of Alfred E. Newman from Mad Magazine, and saying his classic line, "What me worry," and the last frame of Carnosaur is that burning up. So. Yeah. Do you think that is the filmmaker's way of saying that indifference equals death, or if you just sit by and let the government do whatever it wants, like you're doomed? Is that what it's saying?
Dude, I mean, they're very obviously trying to make some kind of message. Mm-hmm. But I was like, what am I supposed to glean from this? I was a little confused. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to get the understand the highbrow and subtle messages being delivered here by Roger Corman. It's like Corman. He edged me. He edged me again. I was almost there, but then I was like, oh wait, I don't know what this means.
Wow.
I know it means something.
You were busy eating eggs, you sellout, you government sellout.
No, I was paying attention by this point.
Oh, okay, well, that's good to know. And another thing I thought was interesting, and I'm just curious. I mean, and this is like real. This is truly obscure. When was the first time you ever saw backwards credits in a movie?
Dude, I was thinking that too. I don't think I've ever seen it.
I thought the only movie that had it, at least for the longest time, was Seven.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I didn't stick to watch the credits.
They're backwards in Seven,
yeah,
and
by
they were
backwards credits,
here, yeah.
And by backwards credit, what Steve means, instead of it rolling from the bottom up, the credits scroll from the top down.
Yeah, and
it's weird, right? It's such a little thing, but man, it was really like, it just goes to show how accustomed the human brain gets to seeing something a certain way. Because it's such a small change, but man, it was jarring.
Well, what do you think they were trying to say with that?
I don't know, Steve.
All right, Yahel's brain is.
I didn't think this movie was gonna make me think.
All right, that was a joke one. But yeah. Okay, so are you ready to render your verdict on this thing?
I am. Let's do it.
All right.
Remember, you're rated. That's the question.
All right, Agent Edging Velazquez. Does Carnosaur deserve to be tossed into the black tar pit of obscurity? I forgot to mention that this is part of Dino-month, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you check out our reviews on Dino Riders, Dino Saucers, and Cadillacs and Dinosaurs in order to fully immerse yourself into Dino-month. And, of course, to check out the Kickstarter for Escape to Earth. I almost forgot the title to my own comic book. Yeah. Does it deserve to be tossed in the black tar pit of obscurity, or does it deserve to be remembered for not only all of humankind, but for whatever comes next, for all of reptilian time?
For all of, I was just gonna say all of Dino kind. I think it deserves to be remembered. It's fun. The special effects are not good, but like in a fun way. Occasionally you'll get like a nice looking puppet though, like we mentioned, and the acting's pretty solid, man. The story's pretty good, like it's competently shot. So yeah, and it's short. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's under 90 minutes. It's an hour and 20 something minutes, and that includes the credits. So I say keep it. What say you, Lord Steven?
Ooh, I like the sound of that. Yes, I agree pretty much with all of that. Definitely keep it. It is a singular experience. It's like, I feel like it's the smartest Roger Corman movie they ever made. And again, I guess that must have to do with the original draft or original script that was done by an actual author, like of novels and stuff. And then they add that with like your sort of classic Roger Corman monster movie tropes, and you really get something special. Special effects are great and bad in like the best possible way. The acting is awesome. I mean, I wish I could have seen this on the big screen. And I was reading that at this time, there's like no Blu-ray release. I think the last time it came out in physical media was a DVD. There's a Laserdisc going around. Man, one of these days I'm going to start a Laserdisc collection. You wait.
I wonder if this came out on the CDI. There were like hundreds of movies released for the CDI.
Wait, did they have their own movie format?
So the CDI can play video CDs.
Oh, VCDs. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
But that's not the format for the movies. The movies actually, maybe it can't play video CDs. It might be like their own thing. But yeah, there were hundreds of movies released for the Philips CDI. It's everything you need, baby. It's a game console. It's your home multimedia entertainment. You can you can
fuck it.
There's an encyclopedia for it. Yeah, you can fuck it. And you know what? Unlike that Roger Corman and his wife, it won't leave you edged.
You beat me to it. Oh man.
Yeah. There seems to be a lot of beating.
All right, here comes the remembered bumper. Here we go. In accordance to Obscurity Now, the most important streaming YouTube podcast in all of the internet, you shall be remembered. Yes.
Good show. Good show.
As we were talking, Steve, funny enough, in the chat, Stadium Arts, aka Stripe, but you wrote, "You can edge with it" in reference to the CDI. See, everyone's on the same page here.
Yep, we're all a bunch of deviants, and I love it. It's or Obscurians. We're just all a bunch of deviants. Obscurians. Well, I'm glad this turned out the way it did. I had a feeling when I was watching it, I was like, I think Yahel's gonna like this one, but I thought you were gonna like Mantis too, but I was way wrong on that one.
Yes.
But yeah, all right. Well, I guess that is basically the show. But yeah, I mean, we've been talking about my comic the whole time. What's going on over at Wrestling with Gaming on YouTube?
Nothing. Still working on the same couple of videos. My tendonitis has been really, really bad, so I just haven't really been able to work much on them. So that sucks. But they're coming along. They're coming along, Steve.
Good. Yeah, I'm sure the whole world is waiting. And what are they on again? Or have you revealed that?
They're both going to be Game Boy themed videos. One is going to be I'm redoing my old Game Boy camera video with some new information, and obviously I'll be doing a lot of fancy 3D stuff now with it. And then the other one is going to be just on the history of the Game Boy itself. You know, how it was created, blah blah blah, all the usual stuff whenever I cover a console.
Nice. Can't wait for that. Well, that's everything. We will be back next Sunday with something. We're going to have to talk about that off air. And stay tuned for the other Escape to Earth promo/commercial, because, again, this is the last time that a commercial for that comic will ever be played. And we will see you next Sunday.
I'm done. I'm so done with mainstream comics. Like, they gotta be out of ideas at this point. We got 150 members of the Bat family. Somehow Wolverine had like 9 kids that nobody ever talked about. Just give me comics like they used to be. I never want to see another mainstream comic again.
Tim, what are you doing, man?
Well, I'm gonna gouge out my eyes so I never have to see crap like this again.
You don't have to do that. There's another way.
Another way?
Here, try this.
Escape to Earth. I can tell you this much. The cover looks great. The artwork actually looks like it's done by a professional and not some child off of Tumblr. Action-packed, robots, dinosaurs, one of my favorite things from the 90s, attractive people doing action, looks like sci-fi. This is an actual comic book, something I would actually be interested in. Where does something like this come from?
It was independently produced by myself and several other creators from all over the globe for the sheer love of making comics and to tell a great story.
Now that's diversity I can get behind. The only problem I have is there's only 8 pages of this. I need more. Where can I get more?
That's just a preview copy. The finished copy will be 32 pages long and is currently being crowdfunded on Kickstarter and is available in digital and print.
Kickstarter, you say? So wait, I could help make this book possible?
Absolutely, and you won't have to wait long. Estimated delivery date, August.
August? I don't know. I don't think I can wait that long. I need it now!
Well, Tim, contribute now to the Escape to Earth Kickstarter and reserve your copy today. But hurry, the campaign ends May 31st, 2022. Act now!
Hurry before I do it.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links, if that's what you're into. I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.